All right, now when it comes time for you to start filling in every individual shape with a 10-step dark to white value scale, what you're going to do is change the direction of the dark to light so that there's no back-to-back areas of the same shade. So you see right here, there's black on this edge, white on this edge, black here, white here, so that whatever is directly next to it is not the exact same. So I've kind of done a few here to get going. Basically, whenever you decide, or whichever kind of directional value scale you want to do, let's say I'm going to do the dark one, the dark side on this side. So always start, if you're going to do the dark first, start with the ebony pencil, and right up along the edge, you're just going to start shading. Use it just like you would use a colored pencil. Now, as you start moving toward the lighter side, you are going to lighten up your pressure. Now, you could do the entire scale with this ebony pencil, but what I would suggest is when you get to the middle values, the middle and light values, switch to your number 2 pencil. Oops. And then you just keep going. So with a light amount of pressure, I just keep going. Now notice, I'm not going all the way to the edges right this second. But one thing you'll have to do is come back and kind of fill in the edges, because one of the requirements is that you fill and shade all the way to the edges. So a light amount of pressure is going to give you a lighter value, and then eventually the opposite edge from where you started the dark is going to be paper white. So you should be able to see all 10 steps. Now, each shape, you may have to go back in and make some adjustments. If it's not perfect the very first time through, go back in and adjust your shading. What I recommend is that whatever direction your pencil is going in your first layer, switch and go the opposite direction so that you're going crisscross. And that'll help fill in all the little white specks. So if it's not dark enough, I came back in with my ebony pencil. So this is a process. You're not going to get it perfect the very, very first time through. You'll have to go back in and kind of make adjustments. But that's what this is for. This is to practice. This is like art boot camp, where instead of your drill sergeant saying, drop and give me 20 push-ups, I'm going to say, drop and give me 50 value scales. Because through this repetition is how you become good. I've done this so many times, which is why my value scales are pretty decent. I'm not saying they're perfect by any stretch, but they're not bad. All right, now the next one, just make sure wherever you start the dark, make sure it's not directly up against where you started the dark on the shape next to it. Smaller shapes are easier to fill in. So if you have really giant areas, it's going to be a little harder. What I would do is create more lines and break them up into smaller spaces. And it'll be a little easier to fill in with these value scales. So that's really the technique. Now eventually I'm going to work my way through every shape all the way through the entire thing.